Hi everybody, welcome to another mentorship video. I always seem to sing that part, it's kind of funny. I want to talk about being alone versus being lonely. This is something that, particularly as women, I think we've always had to address and think about and process in some way, shape, or form. It's an interesting thing because I now, reflecting back on my life, in which probably more than half of it I've been with someone in a partnership of some kind, not always the same person, but with someone. You kind of get used to this idea that we're always supposed to be with someone in order to be whole. And that even plays into what it feels like even as a single person with your friends. It's like you're always supposed to be with somebody. It even plays into our work environments that we've become accustomed to prior to COVID, the work environments and the office shares and co-working spaces and office experiences and sort of what it means and feels like to always be around people. Now, while people are incredibly valuable, whether they're our love partners, our friends, or our colleagues, we do need to make a distinction for ourselves between what happens when we're alone and what happens when we start to talk to ourselves about being lonely or disconnected, and what part of ourselves that is. So I want to talk a little bit about it for myself because that's where I can speak from. So I do remember distinctly periods in my life where doing things by myself felt like I was, not together, not validated somehow. I always needed to be with somebody to do something, whether that was to be productive or sit and have a meal in a restaurant, go to the movies, what have you. And with the growth of myself and more confidence, and I will definitely say with having children, I've shifted into great appreciation for alone time. Alone time for me has become a space to think, not just to think, but to actually hear myself. The amount of noise and constant talking and cacophony that is generally around me has brought so much appreciation for quiet and for space. So I will say on a super simple level, becoming a mother has allowed me to truly appreciate alone time. And that has bled over into how I process social experiences that are alone, like sitting somewhere and eating by myself or going to a movie. Anything that is alone feels like a luxury. It feels like a gift to myself. So I think that in some respects as human beings, we are a little bit of a reactionary species. We experience one thing, we want the opposite. So I wanted to bring this idea of alone versus lonely also into how we're manifesting our creativity and our productivity. So interestingly, for all of us, we have all experienced so much change in how we work, particularly since COVID. And while I almost always worked from home because I had my own business, I really worked very much only with one person on the regular basis, and we kind of enjoyed meeting in different places and finding different ways of working. But I also had two small kids, and I kind of made it a value thing, a priority for me to kind of be flexible, be with them, be near them, and work. So working by myself and working from home has always been very normal for me. But I always balanced that out with networking, with having lunch meetings, having coffee talks, and feeding off of other people. That part for me has cut down quite a bit, and I do miss it. And I do feel where my well is less full because of it. So one of my priorities for this next season is to start adding more of that, whether that is in person, if it can be, or just more like let's reconnect. And so I'm in the process of reaching out to some people that I'm meaning to reconnect with and finding that connection. But I want to get back to why alone can really still be a powerful space of reconnection with one's ideas and one's real self and real well of possibility. So because I think alone has had a bit of a stigma during COVID, I wanted to, in particular, bring it to that. I've had my own personal journey through my life of finding more beauty in alone versus the story of loneliness. But we have all suffered from disconnection, specifically with the communities and connections we had that brought us productivity and brought us connection. And so maybe right now it is about rekindling some of those conversations, whether they're in person or on Zoom or whatever. Or maybe it's about your environment. Maybe we just spend too much time at home. I know I do. And so what if we start inviting in more spaciousness, whether we take our work calls out on a walk or on a hike, or maybe we take our computer to an outdoor cafe just so we see other people. I want to remind you right here, right now, that loneliness is a state of mind, even if separation and distance is a bit more imposed upon us. We can still connect with people. We can still be in the world, especially if we're able to contact a sacred, confident space within ourselves, no matter what. So I would love to share with you that I think you should spend a moment asking yourself, am I feeling lonely? Or am I maybe just a little bit too much alone and I need to redefine it? Or am I still in a very confident, valuable space with my creative alone time? And just answering that question will give you a sense of where you may need to fill that. So I'm really excited. My big announcement that I'm sharing with all my talks right now is I've launched the Women of Abundance in Business and Life Facebook group. It's a place for women to connect authentically on topics like money, power, and worth. And there's going to be a lot of magic happening in that group. So head over to Facebook. You can find it. You can find me. You can also head over to the Going Beyond Movement website and find everything you need to know there. So thanks for hanging with me today.